Here now is Matt Austin and Ginger Gadsden with Florida's Fourth Estate. Sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
Welcome to another edition of Florida's Fourth Estate. We always like to profile amazing Floridians who are doing very cool things. And one that we had profiled in the past went viral on our show. Yeah. We're up to 850,000 views in this one YouTube clip, all because of what was a very special, successful 16-year-old inventor, Ginger.
And she's still successful, only now she's 17. Her name is...
Now she's really coming into her own.
Her name is Tiffani Gay. She is a rising senior at the Orlando Science School. And we cannot say enough fantastic things about her because the podcast did go crazy, and we've aired it maybe 3 times, and every time people are like, where has she been hiding? We love her. We want more. Who is this person? So we're going to give the people what they want today, and they want more of this young lady who is, I like to say, going to save the world. Tiffani, no pressure, but welcome to Florida's Fourth Estate.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me back. It's amazing to be here.
Yeah, you have not been busy at all since the last time we talked. I mean that sarcastically, because you have been still continuing to just make us incredibly proud here in Florida. Can you give us a synopsis of just a couple of things you've done? Because what we talked to you about was your invention of something to help maybe 2 billion people who are visually impaired across the whole globe. Now what are you doing?
Yes. So, of course, I'm still continuing with that project, and I'm actually working on implementing AI to make it a bit more advanced. And since then, I've also been working on getting a patent for the device so that it can be sold worldwide. And then the next project that I'm working on is an electromagnetic system that is capable of separating oil from water, and it has applications in oil spill removal. And with that project, I was able to go to the International Science and Engineering Fair in Los Angeles, California, where I received first place in the National Oceanic Administration Award.
Because that's what she does. She wins first place. Yeah. That's our girl. Okay, continue.
And in addition to research, in addition to science, I've really moved on to beginning a few social initiatives. The first of which was Girls Who Code that I began in the beginning of my junior year. And I started that because I was in Computer Science A, and me and one of my classmates, we were the only girls in the entire class. And it was a little bit discouraging, honestly. And we decided to co-found this initiative called Girls Who Code, which aims to make programming more accessible to girls locally in our school. And we work and mentor elementary school students from 2nd to 4th grade every single Wednesday at Orlando Science High School. And we also work on a bunch of projects with them, and we work on introducing them to robotics as well. And that's been really rewarding for me. And then in addition to that, I founded my own initiative, which is called Future Discovery, which aims to make research more accessible for high school students.
Wow. What are you doing?
I'm exhausted.
Do you have any free time? Do you have anything that you do for fun, or is basically business fun for you?
Well, that's a tough question. I would say that all of the work I'm doing is very rewarding for me, absolutely. I enjoy doing it. Whenever I finish working on it, I don't feel drained. In fact, I feel really energized. But, I'm 17 years old, so of course I have to
enjoy that right now.
Plenty of energy.
Yes.
But do you have a balance? Because you're such a go-getter. You're going after it so hard. Do you have, as a dad, I'm asking this, where, do you have something to balance?
I feel like I saw some prom pictures.
Okay,
yes.
We go to prom.
Yes. I have a group of 6 girls I've been friends with literally since middle school. We are the closest friend group ever. And what's really interesting about us is that we're all passionate about different things. Some of us in political advocacy, some of us in history, some of us in science, like me. And again, just having that great group of friends supporting me that are all very, very ambitious has been really important to me. And it's really important in establishing that balance. Prom, as you mentioned, and we went to Wekiva Springs over the weekend.
Yeah,
so we're always hanging out.
Oh, I love Wekiva Springs.
Yeah, but I love that you are friends with all these other girls who are super empowered and in their own right? So there's no sense of competitiveness in that group. You're all supporting one another, and I feel like Girls Who Code is something else where you empower these 2nd through 4th grade.
Yes.
Is that what you said? Okay, so what's it like when you see these little kids, or when they see you, especially especially in second grade. Here you are, you walk in and you're talking about, okay, this is what you can be.
Yes, exactly. I remember whenever I first started Girls Who Code with my co-founder, her name is Shreya, a lot of the girls in there were really shy. And there was a huge polarity between the class. They were either really interested, they're like, you're a high schooler, like, how's high school?
What's prom like?
Or they were really, really silent. They were sitting at the back of the class. I didn't even really know what their names were because they were so shy. But over the months, and as the months passed, I watched them become more interactive with the classroom. And we would do a lot of games, and we would do a lot of interactive things like bringing in robots from a robotics team. And that's allowed all of the girls to become not only comfortable with each other, but also comfortable with science and with programming and communicating science, because that's really important. And again, working with the girls and working with Girls Who Code has been incredibly rewarding for me as a woman in science, because I know how difficult it is, and establishing that passion really young is incredibly important.
Why do you think it is still so difficult for women to make their mark in the world of STEM?
I think it's kind of overbearingly full of men right now. And I know for me, whenever I was in computer science, because there were so many men in the classroom, me and my friend Shreya, we were the only girls in that class, I felt like I was afraid to fail. And I felt that making a mistake would make me and all the other women in the room look so much less intelligent compared to the men in the room, right? And I felt I was more scared to ask questions. I was more scared to participate because I was afraid of failure. And that's so unlike me, right? Like,
yes.
I'm normally not like that. But I did sense that in myself. And that recognition over the summer compelled me to begin that initiative.
Very
Wow,
cool. Yeah,
that is incredible.
That's interesting that even at 17 you feel that. I would think that would come like later on in the workplace, maybe in the college classroom. Okay, I want to ask you what happened. So we brought you on our podcast. It was in March of 2023, and then a lot of people saw it, and you ended up on national TV. Like, what? Kind of tell us how that snowballed after this, because you were already amazing, and we just kind of pointed it out to everyone.
It was great, because I actually saw the show when it aired, and I was sitting there like, go on.
This is like it was her child. Oh, I hope she does well.
I was nervous for you, and I'm like, why am I nervous? I'm at home in my robe, and you're doing all the hard work. So what was that like?
Well, first of all, I'm incredibly grateful for you guys, because without you, I don't think I would have gotten that opportunity. But the story's really crazy. So I had just traveled to Tunisia for the International Festival of Science and Engineering. And I won Grand Award, and I was so happy.
Because that's what she does.
And I was with my mom, and we were driving back from the airport, and then we got a call from a producer on the ABC Tamron Hall show. And I didn't really understand the vastness of it. And my mom was just like, oh my gosh, it's Tamron Hall. Like, you guys know her. She was so excited.
I worked with her in Dallas, actually, so she's incredible.
Yes.
You're talking about Tamron Hall. Her mom was excited as well.
Yeah, but my mom was so excited. And she immediately replied to the producer, and then it was almost like a fever dream, because I just come back, and then the following Tuesday I had to leave school, and then I went to New York. I came back like the next morning, and went back to school. And I was like, it was incredible.
Like, oh well.
Was it intimidating? You don't seem to be intimidated by much.
Well, yes, it is intimidating, but I think I pretend a little bit. And then enough pretending makes you forget that you're pretending, if that makes sense, and I feel more confident.
There's a whole TED Talk on that.
Really? There's a whole thing about, fake it until you make it. You got to kind of like convince yourself, like, okay, it's almost like there's a word for it where you feel like imposter syndrome. Like, why am I here? But we all see what you've done and what you are doing, so we know why you're there. And I would imagine that after that, more and more people started reaching out to you.
Yes, and this is where it gets even crazier, because you guys aired the show again, and I hadn't known. My mom did, but I had no idea. And I remember I was studying for calculus at home in my office, and then I check my email, and I see like literally 100 emails, and they're all replying to my personal website, tiffanigay.com, and they're all like, hey, I saw this, and I'm like, wow, they're all seeing it like now in January. So then I talked to my mom. I'm like, I'm getting replies from inventors in Switzerland, and I'm getting replies from inventors here locally, asking to collaborate on a host of different projects. And my mom's like, yeah, they re-aired your show.
Duh.
They You have to know they don't all do that. Like, this is a great show.
Yeah.
But you are definitely our #1 top show.
You drove the numbers for us,
did.
so we're gonna probably air it again.
We're going to air this one about 21,000 times. See what that does for us. But no, we're very proud of you and what you've done and what you continue to do. So you're going into your senior year this year.
Yes.
Which is big. All right.
Terrifying.
No, it's not terrible. This is exciting because
Yes.
where all your hard work over all of this
Culminates,
time
exactly.
is about to pay off because you're about to get money to go to an amazing school, and you're going to find out where you're going to spend the next 4 years. Listen, it is very stressful. I just went through this with my daughter.
Yes.
And it is stressful, but it is a very cool time. And I hope that, this is me being a dad again, I hope you take time to really enjoy it and through the stress and through the, what's that app you have? It's the Common app, I think.
Common app, yeah.
Yes. You have to put everything in and, but it's a great process. So what are you hoping to get out of this whole situation?
Well, I hope to get to a college where I can continue to do research like I am currently doing. And for me right now, my dream college is Harvard University.
Let's say that again.
For all of the Harvard people listening.
Because you got to put it out in the atmosphere, and I believe it'll happen.
Yeah.
So it's Harvard.
And they could see it if it gets 1 million views again.
Yeah. Or we'll send it to them.
Yes. So why Harvard? Why is that your fave?
Yes, so I'm actually doing research there this summer. And I'm really excited because I think that they have a lot of opportunities for undergraduate students to explore their interests even further. And that can be through hands-on projects and through research and things like that. And another option I'm really looking at is MIT as well, because I know they have incredible programs for what I'm really interested in. It's the culmination of both medicine and engineering, and I think that both of those universities have a lot to offer in that space.
That's where I had you pegged. I had you going to MIT.
Yeah.
Okay.
All my
Okay,
teachers
Dad.
said that too.
I'm not trying to pressure you.
Make sure you let him know where you end up. Well, I feel like wherever you end up, they are going to be so fortunate to have someone like you in their midst and on their campus. And we are just fortunate to have someone like you from our community, because we're going to claim you. I'm going to claim you to my grave. It's like, because we do stories sometimes as news anchors, and we don't get to talk about how wonderful people are. Sometimes we talk about how terrible they are, and so,
Oftentimes.
It's so delightful and so just rewarding to see you blossom the way you have. And the one thing I did want to ask you, because you talked about it at the beginning of this, we're all terrified and talking about AI. Right? And I know you say that you're using AI to help improve your visually stimulating thing that you've invented, right? Tell me a little bit more about how you feel about AI and why it's a good thing and we shouldn't be terrified.
Or should we be terrified?
Yeah, I think it's ironic that you asked me this, because just this past weekend I attended an AI conference, an Inclusive Tech Summit at Universal F3 Fest. And while I was there, I learned a lot about the potential for AI to democratize our society. And I know a lot of us are really afraid of its potential to take away jobs and its potential to leave out the marginalized groups, which is why I think if we were to implement AI at a much larger scale, it's very important that we include developers that are of a diverse background. We see a lot of AI tools like AI, like face checkers, or image detection systems, for instance. They're not able to detect people of color, some of them. And that's
correct.
because the data sets that these AI models are given are typically not people of color. And that's because the developers developing these systems are typically not people of color. And so I think AI is not something to be afraid of, as long as we're cognizant to develop teams of people that are diverse when developing these systems.
But have you seen Terminator? I'm going to guess you haven't seen Terminator. Because there's a dark side to this AI.
my God.
When it
Yes.
starts thinking, like, can you see it down the line when it starts thinking for itself and maybe, wants to kill us? What you don't worry about that? Am I the only one worried about this?
Yes. No.
I'm asking the PhD over here.
Well, I'm definitely not an expert in AI whatsoever, but I do see that fear among many people that AI will develop its own mode of thinking, and typically that thinking might be against us humans.
Sure.
And once again, that falls in the responsibility of the developers of these systems to feed the AI systems data that isn't biased. And if you're giving the AI a piece of data that's basically talking about or discriminating against a certain group, for instance, then the AI itself would begin to discriminate against that group.
Yeah.
So if we give the AI data that isn't anti-human and that isn't anti-race or a certain race or discriminatory, then we see systems that aren't biased. And that's what's important. I know it's very scary. Yes, it's very scary. But once again, it's just important to develop systems and data sets that are very holistic.
It's like the rest of what's happening with every time you say something around your phone, right? And all of a sudden your algorithm starts to pick up on that. It's whatever you're feeding to that AI, as you mentioned. If you're feeding things that are just this one-dimensional, then that's what you're going to get back.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of scary sometimes.
It is. Well, I saw it was a big hubbub because people started asking one of the AI generators, give me a picture of, I don't know, it was like a German soldier or something, and it showed African American people and Asian people and no white people, and people were like, well, okay, that's not very accurate. And then they asked for something else, like, show me a Viking, and there were no white people on there, and they were like, well, is somebody in the background must be saying, they're trying to make it diverse, but in making it diverse, it's like too diverse. So it seems like very touchy, like one pendulum swing to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just takes time. With anything else, we were afraid of our cell phones when we first got them, but you were raised with a cell phone, so you wouldn't know what that's about. Now, if you could have one, we like to ask people, if you had a magic wand and you could just use it for anything, what would you use it for?
That's such a hard question.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
But you can do it.
Well, I would probably ask for a lot. Well, I don't even know what I would ask.
You stumped her.
Yeah, you
No
did
test can
stump
stump
me.
her.
No, nothing
Ginger
can.
Gadsden got her.
She's going to come up with an answer because.
Yeah, okay. So
Look, I got it now.
yeah, through my initiative, Future Discovery, as you know, one of the main issues that we're facing is getting enough funding for the teachers of these public schools. And you see, like the research and stuff that I'm participating in, typically it comes from students that attend charter schools or private schools. And it's really important to involve a larger group of students in this research because it's very essential to deep learning, right? And I think if I were to have a magic wand, I would likely get more funding to our teachers in our public school system so that they're able to support the children in their research endeavors or in their further endeavors in whatever scientific process or projects they want to be working on.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Okay,
good. See,
that's
she
nice,
came
yeah.
up with it. I want to ask you about your school because you talk a lot about your school. You seem to have a lot of pride. So it's Orlando
Science High School.
High School
Yes.
in Orlando. They're about to open another one on the east side of town over by me. And I'm curious, you don't think you would have the same amount of access to research and knowledge that you would if you had gone to a different school?
Yes. It's very unfortunate, but I believe it's true. I attended public school, all of elementary school. And it wasn't until I got to Orlando Science School that I saw these teams, these robotics teams, these Science Olympiad teams, a lot of different academic teams. And that's what really encouraged me to take a step forward into science and into research as well, was being in that environment with other students and other teachers who were dedicated to what they were doing. And it's not that we don't have those teachers in the public high school systems, it's that they're not supported as well in these public high school systems. Yeah. And that's something that I really think our government needs to address, honestly, making sure that education is equitable. And in areas where we don't see teachers getting as much support, we see that being reflected on the students as well. And that's something that, again, I think I was really fortunate not to get in my schools. The teachers were so passionate. I became so passionate.
Yeah, and we know that you have one teacher in particular. I see her by your side all the time, and I think that's so incredible. You want to tell us a little bit about her?
Yes, I call her my traveling teacher. Her name is Miss Bright. She has this incredible passion for research and for cross-curriculum, and I'm sure you'll likely hear from her as well. That's what's really propelled me into kind of combining my passions for all of these different types of sciences into one research project. It was the guidance of her.
Yeah.
So Miss Bright is just an incredible teacher. I could go on and on about her.
She's
that's
somebody who will be in
fantastic.
your life for a long time.
Forever,
I would
honestly,
imagine. Yeah.
forever. I mean, throughout college, I see myself continuing to talk with Ms. Bright and continuing to ask her for advice because the advice that she has is honestly endless.
Yeah, which is so great because an incredible teacher changes the world for a student.
Oh man, I had a teacher. He was my TV production teacher. He was a groomsman in my wedding, and he's still, when he comes to town, now that I'm 40 and a news guy, he will come to town and be like, "Hey, I'm in town. Can we do lunch?" Still to this day.
I think we all have recently I was anchoring a show, and my teacher, Miss Grady, who I haven't seen or talked to her in years. She was in town for a church convention. She sends me a text message. And it's just like, I'm watching the news right now. I'm so proud of you. I started bawling my eyes out. And you know I'm a crier anyway. But I was like, oh, my God, I made Mrs. Grady proud. So I know Mrs. Bright has to feel some kind of way about you because you're not just representing her and that school. I mean, you have a lot of weight on your shoulders, and I know you feel that because this is why you're doing all the things that you're doing and making sure that other kids who look like you are represented. And I just appreciate that so much because you could go and do what you need to do and not look back.
Yeah.
But you're not.
I'm not.
I know.
She's putting a lot of stress on me right now. So tell me, do you feel that? Do you feel a lot of weight on your shoulders? Too much pressure at all?
I wouldn't say it's too much pressure, but I would say that I feel a bit of weight on my shoulders. I know this past year was junior year. It was incredibly difficult for me. I was taking 7 or 8 AP classes.
What do you mean 8? Like you only have, there's only 7 classes in the school day. Yeah. You took an extra AP?
Well, we split government and macro on
Did
semester.
you take a PE or something?
Yeah. And, you know, I'm honestly a perfectionist, you know, so I have to get my A's in my classes, my high scores on my finals. So it does get it's a lot of pressure, honestly, like having all these different initiatives I'm hosting and then also doing research and then also maintaining my grades. And then, you know, the SAT and the ACT and all of those final exams.
Yeah.
I feel pressure.
Yes.
It's not even me.
I
but
know. That's why I think again, sorry, I keep giving unsolicited advice, but I think you need to have time where you're just enjoying yourself because it seems like I don't want you to burn out.
Yeah.
You've got to save this planet, okay? I'm not trying to add more
no
stress
pressure.
to you.
Single-handedly save the planet.
You have to
though.
represent entire groups of people, and you have to save the world. No
But
pressure.
other than that, you're free to roam about
go to the
cabin.
beach once in a while.
Exactly.
But do you play the violin? Is that
Yes,
yeah?
Oh my
do you do that
God.
to relax or is
Yes, of course. And also recently, I've really been into art, like incredibly into art. I did AP art this year for my first year.
Of course it's APR. Yeah.
We don't do
Regular people.
No honors.
And I really got into painting and mixed media, and I did submit some of my work to local artist galleries in downtown Orlando, and I also received like the Distinguished Art Award from the Winter Park Art Festival. So yeah.
You're ridiculous.
I mean, even your fun things are rewarded.
I know, yeah. Even her art, she has to like be the next Rembrandt. So at the end of our last show, I made a joke and I said, okay, yeah, I'm going to go do some Mensa puzzles or something like that. And you go, oh, I am in Mensa. And it was ridiculous. But are you still in Mensa?
Yes, I'm still. I actually just received my membership card renewal.
Oh my God.
This week. Yeah.
Nice.
What must that be like? We'll never know. It is so delightful to see you again and to catch up with you. And I know the people who have watched your podcast originally with us 3 times now will be so excited to hear from you again and to see what you've been up to. And I just appreciate your motivation, your inspiration, your light in the world, because you are really a bright light.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You keep it up. You're awesome. And so the next time we see you, we want video of when you open up Harvard and MIT. I want to see your reaction.
Yes.
You don't have to send it to us if it doesn't go through, but I think it's going to go through.
I just want to be there when you open it.
I know. We're going to be broadcasting live.
We'll plan it.
Yeah.
No pressure. But Tiffani, we're so proud of you. We
you.
think you're doing awesome. Keep it up. Enjoy your life.
Yes.
Okay?
Of course. Priorities.
All right, I'm watching you.
But also save the planet.
Yes. We need you to save us, for sure. This is another edition of Florida's Fourth Estate. I'm going to go do my Mensa real quick.
He's not going to do any such thing. Nor am I.
Never been accused of that.
The only thing we're going to do is see you next time.
Yes.
Bye.
You're amazing.
And thank you for watching Florida's Fourth Estate. You can download it from wherever you listen to podcasts or watch anytime on News 6 Plus.